welcome to another Blackjack Day video and moving forward your journey to being a better Blackjack player and AP player. I am Blackjack Dave. I love to play Blackjack, talking about Blackjack and sharing the correct way to play Blackjack with others. Nothing's worse being at the Blackjack table and people getting upset because of the money they've lost. I hate to think if they lost that rent money or that car payment. I'm not saying I don't lose because I have my bad days as well, but I have the bankroll to cover it. What I'm saying is that casinos have to fight me for every penny they get. You need to develop that kind of attitude, and just the fact you're listening to this shows me that you're willing to learn. So you got a good start. Casinos make money because the players allow them to make money. They don't play the hands correctly. They start to press bet, and they start to play with what they know is not the right to play, but all that goes out when you're playing with fear and emotion and not plain logic. You cannot expect to win a blackjack if you're betting the red money. You can't expect to win a blackjack every time either. You must have a sum of money set aside, which is extra money, which, should you lose it, will not affect your lifestyle in any way. By doing that, you'll bet what needs to be bet and play the hands as they need to be played. All right. Enough said about that. Let's start learning about some blackjack again. What is money management? Well, as applies to playing blackjack as a card counter, money management is simply a method of betting which will minimize your losses and maximizing your gains. Playing blackjack, if you didn't know it already, carries with it a risk of loss. The advantage a counter has over the casino is very, very small. And you go on a losing streak that is frightening at frightening speed of losing money. That's where proper management of your funds is required to give you the best possible chance of reaching that exclusive long term. Blackjack is profitable over the long term, but you must play correctly and have enough bankroll to survive those big losses. Now, some of you will begin your career as counters with big wins, and you'll never look back. I hope that's you. Me, I was lucky when I first started. I won. I was up 2 or 3 thousand. Then I lost over time. Lost about 4,000. Now I'm up right now about 2,500. But remember, my game is a game designed. At least my bankroll and betting strategy is designed for me to go casino, not get backed off, and not lose terribly much, get some comps, and enjoy the game. And that so far has been great for me over the last 2 years. All right, back to generalities. Like I said, most of you will begin with big wins, and I hope that's you, but some of you will also begin with big losses. It will take more hours of play before you start showing a profit. If you have the advantage, the more you play, the better for it is, and the odds should come your way. What I'm going to teach you the next 4 or 5 lessons/videos is how to survive at the game so your long-term edge begins to have its effect, and then show you how to keep your profits that you make. In other words, I'm going to show you money management and betting strategies based on what you desire to make per hour and what your bankroll is. All right. This is some exciting stuff. All right. True count. We've talked about it before, But now we're actually going to define it. All of our betting decisions will be made on the basis of what is known as the true count. More accurately, the count per remaining deck. If we're playing a game and 6 small cards come out on the first hand in the game, we will have a running count of 6. The count per remaining deck, the true count, is just a bit over 1, since there are just a bit less than 6 decks remaining to be played. Remember, when the true count is positive, that's in our favor as a player. When it's negative, it's not in our favor. So, how should we bet? Maybe when the deck is positive, we bet more than when it's negative. That's correct. That's part of money management and long term winning. Let's try one more example. In a 6 deck game, you have a running count of 12 after the first hand. The true count is what? Oh, yeah, we got 6 decks remaining. Running count is 12. So we have a running true count of 2. And 2 is generally when the odds are in your favor and you betting more. And why is the true count important? You can imagine that when we have 6 decks, a running count of 12 when there's 5 decks remaining is not as good for the player as when there's only 2 decks remaining. That's why we divide, to keep that true count accurate with relationship to the number of cards remaining to be played. Very important. Great concept. All right, so to determine the true count, divide the running count by number of decks remaining to be played. Here we got a little table. We got decks remaining and the running count, and what we have to do is determine the true count. So we got 4 decks remaining. Running count is 8. True count would be, I say it's 2. Yay for us. Okay. Now the deck remaining is 2, and we got a running count of 10. So this is good. Running count of 5. 5 is a good true count. I'd be betting out just about my maximum bet at this point. Maybe I'm betting two times my maximum bet. All right, deck remaining is 5. So at the beginning of the game, running count is 5. What's our true count? Well, 5 into 5, 1 time. And then, of course, deck remaining is 3. Running count is 12. So that's a true count of 4. So you see relationship. Here we got a running count of 10 and a running count of 12. Even though the running count is higher here, our true count is less. There's more decks remaining. All right, very good. So, how do we estimate the number of remaining decks? Do we look at the shoe or do we look at the discard tray? The discard tray is what we want to use. As cards are used, the dealer places them very neatly in the discard tray where everyone can see them, so counters use that and a bit of subtraction to determine how many decks are left to be played. Let's make sure we all know what a discard tray looks like. Here is the discard tray. There we go. Discard tray is right there. Excellent. So now we all know now what the discard tray looks like. And it's usually over there by, trying to think of a table. I'm sitting at a table. Discard tray is third base. The shoe is usually on first base. All right. Let's say there are 2 decks in the discard tray. There has to be 4 decks left in the shoe. What we strive for to be accurate is within half a deck for our estimation. Now, you might be wondering, well, exactly how do we train for that? Don't worry about that now. I'm going to show you soon. What's more important at this point is the mechanics used to calculate the true count by that method. Let's walk through a simple explanation together. We're at a 6-deck game. The running count is D6, so -6. And 3 decks are in the discard tray. That means 3 decks remain. So we divide the running count by 3. And our true count is D2. Yes, this works for negative decks as well. Exactly the same way. Got it? Try this test to see if you do. Okay, now time for the test. I suggest we're going to do the first 2 together. Then I suggest you pause, write down the answers from 3 to 10. Then about 5 seconds after you hit the play button, you'll see the answers. So let's do the first one. So decks played is 2, meaning the discard tray looks like it will have 2 decks in there. The running count is 4. So what's the true count? Well, if 2 decks haven't played, that means there's 4 decks left. So 4 divided by 4 would be 1. So your true count is 1. Next one. Decks played is 4. That means there's 2 decks remaining in the shoe. Running count is 8. So that would be 2 divided by 8 is 4. The true count is 4. All right, now you guys go ahead and do 3 through 10. Good luck. Where to determine or how to train for discard tray. You can also do it by using a deck of cards. But if you're serious about this, I've showed this Casino Verite a few times. There's a lot more than what we're doing. We'll go in depth on this software on video 3 of this series, or on video 1 of this series. I make zero money off this, but it's such a great software. If you're interested, Casino Verite, qfit.com. That's a great site, great software, and this is the discard tray drill. It has lots of drills, as well as allowing you to practice your game. But I think you'll see how it works as soon as I start it. That's 1 deck left, 2 decks left, 3 decks left, 2 decks, 4 decks, 1 deck, or 5 decks, 4, 2, 3, 2, 5, 4, 1, 4, 3, 1, 2, the pressure, 3, 1, that's 3, 5, 3. What you miss when it drills you on it? 5, 3, 1, 2, 3. See, 3, 5, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Pretty good. But this Casino Verite, we'll go more in depth on it in video 3. I make zero money. It's great software. And this ends video 1. Thanks, of course, for watching. And we'll catch you on the next video.